Act 4, Scene 1 of Faust Part 2 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Translated by Bayard Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 4, Scene 1. High Mountains. Strong serrated rocky peaks. A cloud approaches, pauses, and settles down upon a projecting ledge. It then divides. Faust steps forth.
Down gazing on the deepest solitudes below, I tread deliberately this summit's lonely edge, relinquishing my cloudy car, which hither bore me softly through the shining day, o'er land and sea. Unscattered, slowly moved, it separates from me. Off eastward strives the mass with rounded rolling march, and strives the eye, amazed, admiring, after it. In motion it divides, in wave-like changeful guise, yet seems to shape a figure. Yes, my eyes not err! On sun-illumined pillows beauteously reclined, colossal, truly but a godlike woman form, I see, the like of Juno, Leda, Helena, majestically lovely, floats before my sight. Ah, now 'tis broken! Towering broad and formlessly, it rests along the east like distant icy hills, and shapes the grand significance of fleeting days. Yet still there clings a light and delicate band of mist around my breast and brow, caressing, cheering me. Now light, delayingly, it soars and higher soars, and folds together, cheats me an ecstatic form, as early, youthful, long foregone, and highest bliss. The first glad treasures of my deepest heart break forth. Aurora's love, so light of pinion, is its type. The swiftly felt, the first, scarce comprehended glance, outshining every treasure when retained and held. Like spiritual beauty mounts the gracious form, dissolving not, but lifts itself through ether far, and from my inner being bears the best away.
A 7-league boot trips forward, another immediately follows. Mephistopheles steps out of them. The boots stride onward in haste.
I call that genuine forward striding. But what thou meanest, I'll have thee own, that in such horrors art abiding amid these yawning jags of stone. It was not here I learned to know them well, such was, indeed, the bottom ground of hell.
In foolish legends thou art never lacking. Again thy store thou set'st about unpacking.
Seriously.
When God the Lord, wherefore, I also know, banned us from air to darkness deep and central, where round and round, in fierce, intensest glow, eternal fires were whirled in earth's hot entrail, we found ourselves too easily illuminated, yet crowded and uneasily situated. The devils all set up a coughing, sneezing, at every vent without cessation wheezing, with sulphur stench and acids hell dilated, and such enormous gas was thence created, that very soon earth's level, far extended, thick as it was heaved, and split, and rendered. The thing is plain, no theories overcome it. What formerly was bottom, now is summit. Hereon they base the law there's no disputing, to give the undermost the topmost footing. For we escaped from fiery dungeons there, to overplus of lordship of the air. A mystery manifest and well concealed, and to the people only late revealed.
To me are mountain masses grandly dumb? I ask not whence, and ask not why, they come. When nature in herself her being founded, complete and perfect then the globe she rounded. Glad of the summits and the gorges deep, set rock to rock, and mountains steep to steep, the hills with easy outlines downward moulded, till gently from their feet the vales unfolded, they green and grow, with joy therein she ranges, requiring no insane, convulsive changes.
Yes, so yon talk, you think it clear as sun, But he knows otherwise who saw it done. For I was there, while still below was surging the red abyss, and streamed the flaming tide, when Moloch's hammer, welding rocks and forging, scattered the mountain ruins far and wide, o'er all the land the foreign blocks yon spy there. Who solves the force that hurled them to their place? The law of learned men is all awry there. There lies the rock, and we must let it lie there. We've thought already, to our own disgrace. Only the common faithful people know, and nothing shakes them in their firm believing, their wisdom ripened long ago. A marvel 'tis of Satan's own achieving. On crutch of faith my traveller climbs the ridges, past devil's rocks and over devil's bridges.
Well, 'tis remarkable and new to note how devils nature view.
What's all to me? Her shape let nature wear. The point of honour is, the devil was there. We are the folk to compass grand designs, tumult and force and nonsense. See the signs! Yet now, with sober reason to address thee, did nothing on our outside shell impress thee? From this exceeding height thou saw'st unfurled the glory of the kingdoms of the world, yet, as thou art, unsatisfied, didst feel no lust of power and pride?
I did. A mighty plan my fancy won. Canst guess it?
That is quickly done. I'd take some town, a capital perchance, its core, the people's need of sustenance, with crooked alleys, pointed gables, beets, cabbage, onions on the market tables, with meat stands where the blue flies muster, and around fat joints like gourmands cluster. There shalt thou find, undoubtedly, stench always and activity. Then ample squares and streets whose measure assumes an air of lordly leisure. And last, without a gate to bar, the boundless suburbs stretching far. 'Twere joy to see the coaches go, the noisy crowding to and fro, the endless running hither, thither, of scattered ants that stream together, and whether walking, driving, riding, ever their central point abiding. Honoured by thousands should be I.
Therewith I would not be contented. One likes to see the people multiply, and in their wise with comfort fed, developed even, taught, well bred. Yet one has only, when all's said, the stun of rebels thus augmented.
Then I should build, with conscious power and grace, a pleasure castle in a pleasant place, where hill and forest, level, meadow, field, grandly transformed should park and garden yield. Before green walls of foliage velvet meadows, with ordered paths and artful falling shadows. Plunge of cascades o'er rocks with skill combined, and fountain jets of every form and kind, there grandly shooting upwards from the middle, while round the sides 1,000 spurt and piddle. Then for the fairest women fresh and rosy I'd build a lodge, convenient and cosy. And so the bright and boundless time I should pass in the loveliest social solitude. Women, I say, and once for all I believe that in the plural I the sex conceive.
Sardanapalus! Modern! Poor!
Then might one guess whereunto thou hast striven. Boldly sublime it was, I'm sure, since nearer to the moon thy flight was driven, would now thy mania that realm secure.
Not so! This sphere of earthly soil still gives us room for lofty doing. Astounding plans e'en now are brewing. I feel new strength for bolder toil.
So thou wouldst glory earn. 'Tis plain to see that heroines have been thy company.
Power and estate to win inspires my thought. The deed is everything, the glory naught.
Yet poets shall proclaim the matter, thy fame to future ages flatter, by folly further folly scatter.
All that is far beyond thy reach. How canst thou know what men beseech? Thy cross-grained self in malice band, how can it know what men demand?
According to thy will, so let it be. Confide the compass of thy whims to me.
Mine eye was drawn to view the open ocean. It swelled aloft, self-heaved and over-vaulting, and then withdrew, and shook its waves in motion, Again the breadth of level strand assaulting. Then I was vexed, since arrogance can spite the spirit free, which values every right, and through excited passion of the blood, discomfort it, as did the haughty flood. I thought it chance, my vision did I strain. The billow paused, then thundered back again, retiring from the goal so proudly won. The hour returns, the sport's once more begun.
Ad spectatores.
'Tis nothing new whatever that one hears, I've known it many 100,000 years.
Continuing impassionately.
The sea sweeps on, in thousand quarters flowing, itself unfruitful, barrenness bestowing. It breaks and swells and rolls and overwhelms the desert stretch of desolated realms. There endless waves hold sway, in strength erected and then withdrawn, and nothing is affected. If aught could drive me to despair, 'twere truly the aimless force of elements unruly. Then dared my mind its dreams to oversoar, here would I fight, subdue this fierce uproar. And possible, 'tis I, howe'er the tides may fill, they gently fawn around the steadfast hill. A moderate height resists and drives asunder, a moderate depth allures and leads them on. So, swiftly, plans within my mind were drawn. Let that high joy be mine for evermore, to shut the lordly ocean from the shore, the watery waste to limit and to bar, and push it back upon itself afar. From step to step I settled how to fight it. Such is my wish. Dare thou to expedite it?
Drums and martial music in the rear of the spectators, from the distance on the right hand.
How easy that! Hear'st thou the drums afar?
Whose wise likes not to hear of coming war?
In war or peace 'tis wise to use the chance, and draw some profit from each circumstance. One watches, marks the moment, and is bold. Here's opportunity. Now, Faust, take hold.
Spare me the squandering of thy riddle pelf. What means it? Once for all, explain thyself.
Upon my way to me it was discovered that mighty troubles o'er the emperor hovered. Thou knowest him, the while we twain beside him with wealth elusive bounteously supplied him, then all the world was to be had for pay. For as a youth he held imperial sway, and he was pleased to try it, whether both interests would not smoothly pair, since 'twere desirable and fair to govern and enjoy together.
A mighty error! He who would command must in commanding find his highest blessing. Then let his breast with force of will expand, but what he wills be past another's guessing. What to his faithful he hath whispered, that is turned to act, and men amaze thereat. Thus will he ever be the highest placed and worthiest. Enjoyment makes debased.
Such is he not. He did enjoy, even he. Meanwhile the realm was torn by anarchy, where great and small were warring with each other, and brother drove and slaughtered brother, castle to castle, town 'gainst town arrayed, the nobles and guilds of trade, the bishop with his chapter and congregation, all meeting eyes but looked retaliation. In churches death and murder, past the gates the merchants travelled under evil fates, and all grew bolder, since no rule was drawn for life but self-defence. So things went on.
They went, they limped, they fell, arose again, then tumbled headlong, and in heaps remain.
Such a condition no man dared abuse. Each would be something, each set forth his dues. The smallest even as full measured passed. Yet for the best it grew too bad at last. The capable, they then arose with energy and said, "Who gives us peace shall ruler be. The emperor can and will not. Be elected an emperor new, and you the realm directed, each one secure and sheltered stand, and in a fresh constructed land justice and peace be baited and perfected."
Priest-like, that sounds.
Priests were they, to be sure. They meant their well-fed bellies to secure. They more than all therein were implicated. The riot rose, the riot was consecrated. And now our emperor, whom we gave delight, comes hitherward, perchance, for one last fight.
I pity him. He was so frank, forgiving.
Come, well, look on. There's hope while one is living. Let us release him from this narrow valley. He's saved 1,000 times, if once he rally. Who knows how yet the dice may fall? If he has fortune, vassals come withal.
They cross over the middle range of mountains and view the arrangement of the army in the valley. Drums and military music resound from below.
A good position is, I see, secured them. Well join, then victory will be assured them.
What further? I should like to know. Cheat! Blind delusion! Hollow show!
No, stratagems for battle winning. Be steadfast for the grand beginning, and think upon thy lofty aim. If we secure the realm its rightful claimant, then shalt thou boldly kneel and claim the boundless strand in feoff as payment.
In many arts didst thou excel. Come, win a battle now as well.
No, thou shalt win it. Here in brief shalt thou be general in chief.
A high distinction thou wouldst lend, there to command where naught I comprehend.
Leave to the staff the work and blame, then the field marshal's sure of fame. Of war uncounsels I have had enough, and my war counsel fashion of the stuff of primal mountains' primal human might. He's blessed for whom its elements unite.
What do I see, with arms, in yonder place? Hast thou aroused the mountain race?
No, but I've brought, like Peter Squence, from all the raft the quintessence.
The 3 mighty men appear.
My fellows draw already near. Thou seest, of very different ages, of different garb, of armour they appear. They will not serve thee ill when battle rages.
Ad spectatores.
Now every child delights to see the harness and the helm of knightly action, and allegoric as the blackguards be. They'll only all the more give satisfaction.
Bully, young, lightly armed, clad in motley.
When one shall meet me face to face, my fisticuffs shall on his chops be showered, and midway in his headlong race, fast by his flying hair, I'll catch the coward.
Half-quick, manly, well-armed, richly clad.
Such empty brawls are only folly. They spoil whate'er occasion brings. In taking, be unwearied wholly, and after, look to other things.
Holdfast, well in years, strongly armed, without raiment.
Yet little gain thereafter lingers. Soon slips great wealth between your fingers. Borne by the tides of life as down they run, 'tis well to take, indeed, but better still to hold. Be by the grey old churl controlled, and thou shalt plundered be by none.
They descend the mountain together. End of Act 4, Scene 1. Act 4, Scene 2 of Faust Part 2 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Translated by Bayard Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 4, Scene 2 on the headland. Drums and military music from below. The Emperor's tent is pitched. General-in-Chief.
It still appears the prudentest of courses, that here, in this appropriate vale, we have withdrawn, and strongly massed our forces. I firmly trust we shall not fail.
Emperor.
What comes of it will soon be brought to light, yet I dislike this yielding semi-flight.
Look down, my prince, where our right flank is plated. The field which war desires hath here been granted. Not steep the hills, yet access not preparing. To us advantage, to the foe ensnaring. Their cavalry will hardly dare surround our strength half hid on undulating ground.
My commendation only need I speak. Now arm and courage have the test they seek.
Here on the middle meadow's level spaces thou seest the phalanx, eager in their places. In air the lances gleam and sparkle, kissed by sunshine through the filmy morning mist. How darkling sways the grand and powerful square! The thousands hum for great achievements there. Therein canst thou perceive the strength of masks? And thine, be sure, the foeman's strength surpasses.
Now first do I enjoy the stirring sight. An army thus appears of double might.
But of our left I've no report to make. Brave heroes garrison the rooky brake. The stony cliffs, by gleams of weapons specked, the entrance to the close defile protect. Here, as I guess, the foeman's force will shatter, forced unawares upon the bloody matter.
And there they march, false kin, one like the other, even as they styled me uncle, cousin, brother, assuming more and ever more defying the scepter's power, the throne's respect denying. Then, in their feuds, the realm they devastated, and now as rebels march, against me mated. Awhile with halting minds the masses go, then ride the stream wherever it may flow.
A faithful man, sent out some news to win, comes down the rocks. May he have lucky been.
First Spy.
Luckily we have succeeded, helped by bold and cunning art. Here and there have pressed and heeded, but 'tis ill news we impart. Many purest homage pledging, like the faithful fealty swore, for inertness now alleging people's danger, strife in store.
They learn from selfishness self-preservation, not duty, honor, grateful inclination. You do not think that, when your reckoning is shown, the neighbor's burning house shall fire your own?
The second comes, descending slowly hither, a weary man, whose strength appears to wither.
Second Spy.
First, with comfort we detected what their plan confused was word. Then, at once and unexpected, came another emperor forth. As he bids in ordered manner, marched the cattering hosts away. His unfolded lying banner all have followed, sheep are they.
Now by a rival emperor shall I gain, that I am emperor, thus to me is plain. But as the soldier, I the mail put on. Now for a higher aim the sword be drawn. At all my shows, however grand to see, did nothing lack, but danger lacked to me. Though you but tilting at the ring suggested, my heart beat high to be in tourney tested. And had you not from war my mind dissuaded, for glorious deeds my name were now paraded. But independence then did I acquire, when I stood mirrored in the realm of fire. In the dread element I dared to stand. 'Twas but a show, and yet the show was grand. Of fame and victory I've dreamed alone, but for the base neglect I now atone.
The heralds are dispatched to challenge the rival emperor to single combat. Faust enters in armor with half-closed visor. The three mighty men, armed and clothed as already described.
We come, and hope our coining is not chidden. Prudence may help, though by the need unbidden. The mountain race, they know us, think and explore. Of nature and the rocks they read the lore. The spirits, forced from the level land to sever, are of the rocky hills more fain than ever. Silent, they work through labyrinthine passes, in rich metallic fumes of noble gases. On solving, testing, blending, most intent, their only passion, something to invent. With gentle touch of spiritual power, they build transparent fabrics hour by hour. For they, in crystals and their silence furled, behold events that rule the upper world.
I understand it, and can well agree. But say, thou gallant man, what's that to me?
The Sabine old, the Norsean necromancer, thy true and worthy servant sends the answer. What fearful fate it was that overhung him? The faggots crackled, fire already stung him. The billets dry were closely round him fixed, with pitch and rolls of brimstone intermixed. Not man, nor god, nor devil him could save. The emperor plucked him from his fiery grave. it was in Rome. Still is he bound unto thee. Upon my path his anxious thoughts pursue thee. Himself since that dread hour forgotten, he questions the stars, the depths alone for thee. Us he commissioned, by the swiftest courses, thee to assist. Great are the mountains' forces. Their nature works ale pointantly and free. Those stupid priests therein but magic see.
On days of joy, when we the guests are greeting, who for their gay delight are gaily meeting, each gives us pleasure, as they push and pull, and crowd, man after man, the chambers full. Yet chiefly welcome is the brave man thus, when as a bold ally he brings to us, now in the fateful morning hour, his talents, while destiny uplifts her trembling balance. Yet while the fates of this high hour unfold, thy strong hand from the willing sword withhold. Honor the moment when the hosts are striding, for or against me, to the field deciding. Self is the man, who crown and throne would claim, must personally be worthy of the same. And may the phantom which against us stands, the self-styled emperor, lord of all our lands, the army's duke, our prince's feudal head, with mine own hand be hurled among the dead.
However the need that thy great work be finished, risked were thy head, the chances were diminished. Is not the helm adorned with plume and crest? The head it shields that steels our courage best. Without a head, what should the members bridle? Let it but sleep, they sink supine and idle. If it be injured, all the hurt confess int, and all revive when it is convalescent. Then soon the arm its right shall reassert, and lift the shield to save the skull from hurt. The sword perceives at once its honoured trust, parries with vigour, and repeats the thrust. The gallant foot its share of luck will gain, and plants itself upon the necks of slain.
Such is my wrath. I'd meet him thus, undaunted, and see his proud head as my footstool planted.
Heralds, returning.
Little honour was accorded. We have met with scorn undoubted. Our defiance nobly worded. As an empty farce they flouted. Lo, your lord is but a vision, echo of a vanished prime. When we name him, says tradition, he was once upon a time.
It's happened as the best would fain have planned, who, firm and faithful, still beside thee stand. There comes the foe, thy army waits and wishes. Order! Attack! The moment is auspicious.
Yet I decline to exercise command.
To the General-in-Chief.
Thy duty, Prince, be trusted to thy hand.
Then let the right wing now advance apace. The enemy's left, who just begin ascending, shall, ere the movement close, give up their place, before the youthful force our field defending.
Permit me, then, that this gay hero may be stationed in thy ranks without delay, that with thy men most fully he consort, and thus incorporate, ply his vigorous sport.
He points to the mighty man on the right. Bully coming forward.
Who shows his face to me, before he turn, shall find his cheekbones and his chops are shattered. Who shows his back, one sudden blow shall earn, then head and pigtail dangling, hang and battered. And if thy men like me will lunge, with mace and sword beside each other, man over man the foe shall plunge, and in their own deep blood shall smother.
Exit.
Then let our centre phalanx follow slow, engage with caution, yet with might, the foe, there to the right already o'ertaken. Our furious force their plan has rudely shaken.
Faust pointing to the middle one.
Let also this one now obey thy word.
Half-Quick comes forward.
Unto the host heroic duty shall now be joined the thirst for booty, and be the goal where all are sent the rival emperor's sumptuous tent. He shall not long upon his seat be lorded, to lead the phalanx be to me accorded.
Speed Booty, Sutleress, fawning upon him.
Though never tied to him by priest, He is my sweetheart dear, at least. Our autumn 'tis of ripest gold. Woman is fierce when she takes hold, and when she robs is merciless. All is allowed, so forth to victory press.
Exeunt both.
Upon our left, as was to be foreseen, their right is strongly hurled. Yon rocks between ours will resist their furious beginning, and hinder them the narrow pass from winning.
Faust beckons to the mighty man on the left.
I beg you, sire, let this one also aid. 'Tis well when even the strong are stronger made.
Holdfast coming forward.
Now let the left wing have no fear. The ground is surely held where I appear. I am the ancient you were told of. No lightning splits what I keep hold of.
Exit. Mephistopheles descending from above.
And now behold, how, more remote, from every jagged rocky throat comes forth an armoured host, increasing, down every narrow pathway squeezing, with helm and harness, sword and spear, a living rampart in our rear, and wait the sign to charge the foeman.
Aside to the knowing ones.
Yon must not ask whence comes the omen. I have not been a careless scout, but cleared the halls of armour round about. They stood afoot, they sat on horses, like lords of earth and real forces. Once emperors, kings, and knights were they, now empty shells, the snails have crawled away. Full many ghosts, arrayed so, have for us revamped the Middle Ages thus. Whatever devils now the shells select, this once will still create effect.
Aloud.
Hark! In advance they stir their anger, each jostling each with brassy clangour. The banner rags of standards flutter flowing, that restless waited for the breezes blowing. Here standeth ready, now, an ancient race, in the new conflict it would fain have place.
Tremendous peal of trumpets from above, a perceptible wavering in the hostile army.
The near horizon dims and darkles, yet here and there with meaning sparkles, a ruddy and presaging glow. The blades are red where strife is sorest, the atmosphere, the rocks, the forest, the very heavens the combat show.
The right flank holds its ground with vigour, there, towering over all, defiant, Jack Bully works, the nimble giant, and drives them with his wonted rigour.
I first beheld one arm uplifted, but now a dozen tossed and shifted. Unnatural such things appear.
Hast thou not heard of vapours banded, o'er the Sicilian coasts expanded? There, hovering in daylight clear, when mid-air gleams in rarer phases, and mirrored in especial hazes, a vision wonderful awakes. There back and forth are cities bending, with gardens rising and ascending, as form on form the ether breaks.
Yet how suspicious! I behold the tall spears tipped with gleams of gold. Upon our phalanxes shining lances, a nimble host of flamelets dances. Too spectral it appears to me.
Pardon me, Lord, those are the traces of spirits of the vanished races, the fires of Pollux and of Castor, whom seamen call on in disaster. They here collect their final strength for thee.
But say, to whom are we indebted, that nature hath our plans abetted, with shows of rarest potency?
To whom indeed, but that old Roman whose care for thee at last is proved? By the strong menace of thy foeman his deepest nature has been moved. His gratitude would see thee now delivered, though his own being for thy sake be shivered.
They cheered my march, with every pomp invested. I felt my power, I meant to see it tested. So carelessly I found it well, as ruler, to send the white beard where the air was cooler. I robbed the clergy of a pleasant savour, and truly have not thus acquired their favour. Shall I at last, since many years are over, the payment for that merry deed recover?
Free-hearted help heaps interest. Look up, and cease to watch the foeman. Methinks that he will send an omen. Attend! The sign is now expressed.
An eagle hovers in the heavenly vault, a griffin follows, menacing assault.
Give heed! It seems most favourable. The griffin is a beast of fable. How dare he claim a rival regal, and meet in fight a genuine eagle?
And now in circles wide extended, they wheel involved, then like a flash, upon each other swiftly dash, that necks be cleft and bodies rended.
Mark now the evil griffin quail. Rumpled and torn, the foe he feareth, and with his drooping lion's tail, plunged in the tree tops, disappeareth.
Even as presaged, so may it be. I take the sign admiringly.
Mephistopheles towards the right.
From the force of blows repeated have our enemies retreated, and in fight uncertain, shifting, towards their right they now are drifting, thus confusing by their courses all the left flank of their forces. See, our phalanx, firmly driven, moves to right, and like the levin strikes them in a weak position, now like waves in wild collision, equal powers with rage opposing, in the double fight are closing, gloriously the weapons rattle. We at last have won the battle.
Emperor on the left, to Faust.
Look, it yonder seems suspicious, for our post the luck's capricious. Not a stone I see them throw there, mounted are the rocks below there, and the upper ones deserted. Now, to one huge mass converted, nearer moves the foe unshaken, and perchance the pass hath taken. Such the unholy plan's conclusion, all your arts are but delusion.
Pause.
There come my ravens croaking presage. What nature then may be their message? I fear we stand in evil plight.
What mean these fatal birds enchanted? Their inky sails are hither slanted, hot from the rocky field of fight.
Mephistopheles to the ravens.
Sit at mine ears, your flight retarded. He is not lost whom you have guarded, your counsels logical and right.
Faust to the Emperor.
Thou hast, of course, been told of pigeons, taught to return from distant regions, to nests upon their native coast. Here, differently, the plan succeeded. The pigeon post for peace is needed, but war requires the raven post.
The birds announce us sore mischances. See, yonder, how the foe advances against our heroes' rocky wall, the nearest heights even now attaining. Should they succeed the pass in gaining, our fortunes then were critical.
Defeat and cheat at last are on me. Into your meshes you have drawn me. I shudder, since they bind me fast.
Courage! Not yet the die is cast. Patience and knack for not untying. The close will be the fiercest stand. Sure messages for me are flying. Command that I may give command.
General-in-Chief, who has meanwhile arrived.
To follow these hast thou consented. Thence all the time I was tormented. No fortune comes of jugglery. The battle's lost. I cannot mend it. 'Twas they began, and they may end it. My baton I return to thee.
Retain it for the better season, which fortune still to us may send. I dread the customers with reason, the ravens and their ugly friend.
To Mephistopheles.
As for the baton, thou must leave it. Thou art not, methinks, the proper man. Command the fight, canst thou retrieve it? Let happen all that happen can.
Exit into the tent with the General-in-Chief.
The blunt stick still be his protection. 'Twould naught avail in our direction. There was a sort of cross thereon.
What's to be done?
The thing is done. Now, my black cousins, speed upon your duties to the mountain lake. The Undines, watery beauties, entreat the appearance of their floods to spare. By female arts, beyond our sharpest seeing, they can divide the appearance from the being, and all will swear the being's there.
Pause.
Our ravens must, with flattery beladen, have sweetly coaxed each winsome water maiden. The trickling streams at once descend, the bold and rocky shoulders of the mountains give birth to full and swiftly flowing fountains. Their victory is at an end.
To such reception they're not used. The boldest climbers grow confused.
Now rook roars down to brook with mighty bubble, then from the mouths of the glens they issue double, and fling themselves in arches o'er the pale, then suddenly spread along the rocky level, and to and fro foam onward in their revel, as down a stairway hurled into the vale. What boots their gallant, hero-like resistance? The billow bursts and bears them down the distance. Before such wild uproar, even I must quail.
Nothing I see of all this moist illusion. To human eyes alone it brings confusion, and in the wondrous chance I take delight. They fly in headlong hurried masses, that they are drowning, think the asses, though on the solid land they see an ocean, and run absurdly with a swimming motion. It is a most bewildering plight.
The ravens return.
To the High Master will I praise you duly, but would you test yourselves as masters fully, then hasten to that smithy eyrie, where the dwarf people, never weary, hammer the sparks from ore and stone, demand, while there you prate and flatter, a fire to shine and shoot and scatter, as in the highest sense 'tis known. 'Tis true that distant lightning, quivering far lights, and falling, quick as wink of highest starlights, may happen any summer night, but lightning loose among the tangled bushes, and stars that hiss and fizzle in the rushes, are shows that seldom meet the sight. Take no great pains, you understand, but first entreat, and then command.
Exeunt the ravens. All takes place as prescribed.
Upon the foe falls night's thick curtain, and step and march become uncertain. In every quarter wandering blazes, and sudden glare that blinds and dazes. All that seems fine, yet we should hear their wild commingled cries of fear.
The hollow armour from the vaulted chambers, in the free air its ancient strength remembers. It rattles there and clatters all around, a wonderful, a cheating sound.
Quite right. The forms there's no restraining, already nightly wax are reigning, as in the splendid times of old. The brassarts there, as well as cuisses, are Guelphs and Ghibellines, and this is renewal of the feud they hold. Firm in transmitted hate they anchor, and show implacably their rancour. Now far and wide the noise hath rolled. At last the devils find a hearty advantage in the hate of party, till dread and ruin end the tale. Repulsive sounds of rage and panic, with others piercing and satanic, resound along the frightened vale.
Warlike tumult in the orchestra, finally passing into lively martial measures. End of Act 4, Scene 2.